Welcome to Details Untold, hosted by myself, Nick, and Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Nick. How's it going today?
Good, sir. How are you today?
Doing well, doing well. Just getting over a cold myself, but feeling better now and excited for tonight.
Sickness is no fun. It's
No.
no fun. We just got over sick. We got over sick like 2 weeks ago, and it went through the whole house. I got 5 kids. Not five. Oh my god, I don't have 5 kids.
Got 5 kids.
I
I
have,
didn't
I
know
have
that.
3 kids, but with my wife and myself, we got 5 people in the house. And it's you're lucky.
Yeah.
You got one person.
Yep.
You get
Just me.
sick, you're done. Me,
Yep.
you get sick, you're just it's like a ticking time bomb. Who else is gonna get it? Like, oh God, you know. So but listeners, welcome to Details Untold. This is episode number one. First one. One. First
Very first
episode of
episode.
Details Untold. The whole premise of this show is for me and Jason to interview interesting people. I even hate to say the word normal. Normal's not fun anymore, but like interesting people that we know, everyday people. There's something that in their lives or their entire life that makes them interesting. We've all watched talk shows, we've all watched talk radio, and I just got to the point where me and Jason were talking. You get to a point where you just feel like they're giving blanketed answers, like
Mhm.
like canned answers. Like, oh, of course, I loved working with my co-actors, and oh yes, I loved making cupcakes, forever. I loved doing this, oh man, like, yes, of course I love the process. And it's like, no, you don't. We want to know those fine details, like what goes into your thought process, what goes into your day, how does that affect your day. We feel that doing this is a way to dive into people's lives, to give you a different perspective on their process. We're not saying that they're right. I'm not saying I'm right. You're going to listen to me and think this guy's bonkers. I don't have a science degree, I don't have a medical degree, but I'll tell you my opinion, and I don't I don't think it's right. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm full of conspiracy theories. I'm a theoretical man, and I would love to talk objectively about anything with you. But by no means I'm a Mr. Fact guy. Jason, I know and I love. We've known each other since 2008.
Mhm.
We met in a place in Florida. We met in space at a wonderful, magical theme park. We worked together for a number of years, and we had the
Mhm.
best time. That was our early 20s, and we made some friendships that lasted past life, during life,
Mhm.
and we come together. We talk many a nights about many things, and this is our brainchild. This is a baby of ours that we thought, like, man, this would be a lot of fun to dive deep into people's, like, neatness, like
Yeah.
awesomeness. Um Jason, tell me a little bit about yourself, Jason. Like, let's tell the listeners who we are, to give
Yeah.
us bona fide reason to keep on listening, or to find a different Details Untold podcast somewhere else.
Right. So I'm originally from California. Moved out to Florida after college. So it was about 2006, and got a job working for the Mouse. And That's where I met Nick in space and also on Earth as well. And Transitioned
Ohana
to
means family.
yeah.
Terrible
Um,
impression.
we transitioned to IT after working for the Mouse and ended up doing that still. So I'm still doing that today. I have 2 dogs, no kids, no wife, and love doing photography, videography. Have a passion for technology, which is part of the reason why I'm really looking forward to doing Details Untold here with Nick, because it kind of gives me something to do with my hobbies and get to learn about a lot of people, which is going to be pretty cool as well. So, Nick, why don't you tell us about you a little bit?
Well, I grew up in St. Louis. I was there until I was 20, so born and bred on the Midwest appetite. I started working there. I've had a number of jobs. I've either really been in entertainment or sales, which when you look at the broader spectrum, is a good back and forth to have. When I was 20, I moved to Florida to work for a certain mouse, thinking that I've made it where I could, and in St. Louis, where can I go and grow and become an actor and a voice actor? I had this grand idea to be a cartoon voice, and I got a theme park job, and that's where I met Jason. That's where I met my beautiful wife, Kristen. We met working. I asked her to be my wife in front of a certain large structure that resembles a castle, and since then we have three beautiful daughters. We've moved from Florida to South Carolina, never looking back. It's just because of the lifestyle here is a lot calmer. I can walk outside and not sweat to death and everything like that. And my three beautiful daughters, fun fact about them is they're 2, 5, and 8. They all have the same birthday. They were all born on the same day, exactly 3 years apart. 48 million chance. I'm not. Oh, I just busted my face with my microphone. I am not famous for that. That is all on my wife. Natural births. Fun facts, about that. So, other than that, I love collecting. I love collecting all kinds of fun things. I love collecting records. I love talking with my buddy Jason, and I'm really excited to dive in to these people's lives and to share it with you, and to share their perspective, our opinions on things. Typically before the guest comes on, we'll share about our lives and what's going on, and then we'll dive in, and that's where we came with the names. It's the details untold, like what don't you normally tell people, like what meaningful facts do you have that normal, that you just kind of skirt over,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we're kind of at right now.
Speaking of which, who do we have on today?
So today are fun guys. They're the mushrooms. That's what I don't call them that at all. It's Dave and Adam. Dave and Adam I have known for years and years. Dave I actually met because I worked for his wife back in St. Louis when I was a teenager. Unruly, needed a job between seasons at my other job. And she was wonderful. She was wonderful, and I just kind of met Dave through her organically. And then they actually moved to Florida too. Not anything to do with me or anything like that, but similar dream. And we just continued to go. They took me under their wing as a married couple, and as people that wanted to grow their family and stuff. Like I babysit for their kids, well, their daughter, and it's just been a beautiful relationship. And Dave and I had been he approached me about being an intern on his podcast, Another Waste of a Podcast, and that's where I met a wonderful Adam, who is in St. Louis. He is an actor, director, philanthropist. He's a archaeologist. He's scientist. I'm kidding about most of those, but he's a very very interesting, funny man. Love him. You're never going to meet anybody that loves somebody instantly like Adam. Like he's always smiling, always has something kind to say to you, always a hug if you need one. So those are the guys, because I was asked to be on their existing podcast, and I ran with them for a year or so. I couldn't tell you how many 20, 30, 40 podcasts with them every week, playing the intern crazy guy. That I thought it was just fitting. I thought it was fitting that I started a podcast with my best friend, to have them on as our first guests, and I'm really excited to talk with them and to dive deeper into their lives, to share their lives with Jason, who's meeting them. I mean, meeting Adam tonight. You've met Dave once, and to share their lives with you and their details and what makes them interesting and fun, and to kind of give you a little bit of different perspective on certain things. I got word. It's here, everybody. Let's welcome to Details Untold, Adam Grun and Dave Martinez, best friends from ever ago. I've known. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Nick.
How's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
Yes.
Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Adam.
Hey, there's Adam.
What's up?
Hey there.
Hey, so details untold.
Just let it be
listeners.
known. Just let it be known I was on time because I'm a professional.
It's okay. It's okay.
I never got the email until like 10 minutes before, and then it said you got to use your laptop because
That's
what kind of stuff
unprofessionals
doesn't work on a iPad Pro? You guys, come on.
I know, right? I got to talk to my tech guy. Oh wait,
Yeah.
he's that way. He's that way. If we're talking like the Beatles things, yeah, like there was a family and all the boys were girls. Wait, no, that's not right. That's not the words at all.
Wait, did I look the right? Oh, okay. I got to look the other way. I'm looking at Dave.
There you go. Well, welcome, gentlemen. We did an intro, and I mean, just a basic intro, but I wanted to introduce you guys to Details Untold to all the listeners. Dave, I met Sarah years ago, back in like 2004, I think. I started working for Sarah, and then throughout the years, I met Dave a couple times, and then Dave and myself grew to be friends. And then through Dave, I met Adam. And Adam, how do you guys know each other?
We started
Great air,
first met
guys.
doing
Adam's a slight delay.
oh, do I shoot? Sorry. It's bad.
So how do you
And
guys
you're
know
all
each other?
frozen now. There we go. All right. Dave, go ahead and talk. My connection is bad right now.
We met back. It's at a comedy club, an improv comedy club back in St. Louis, Missouri, called City Improv, and that's where that was around 9/11 was when I joined, because I remember the auditions was on 9/12.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How was that audition, Dave? That was...
It was at St. Louis Union Station. It was interesting. It was a ghost town in that place of the day. But I had joined the team, and then a few months later, Adam joined the team, and he was part of another group of much better improv artists than the group that we already had.
That's
awesome. He was brought in as a ringer.
There we go. So the whole point of our podcast is to find out about your guys' lives, right? I find both of you very fascinating for different reasons. I mean, Adam is a director, an actor. He drives a Jeep, and Dave is in bands. Dave likes to, Adam likes to direct people. Dave likes to manage people in various roles throughout his life. And I just find that the influences that you guys have had on myself and throughout the years and to each other and everything like that is just fascinating. So the whole point of our show is to interview you guys. We want to know the details. I want to know what makes you tick for certain things. We have notes. Jason has notes. We've deep dived into your lives. I've reached out to your significant others and your kids, and I know things about you that I can bring up throughout the show that you may not know about. They were sworn to secrecy, and that's how we did. Exactly, Dave. And part of the show, if you guys have anything, this is not solicited, but it is slow and low, the best old fashioned out of a bottle, I say. And about midway through, gentlemen, I didn't tell you guys. Ooh, Adam, what is that?
Pepper.
Oh,
It's my salt and pepper shaker.
I was like, that's
Yeah,
like
I
the
didn't
coolest
realize
thing.
you were drinking.
Fun. And about halfway through, we'll hit you guys with the hat questions. They're like rapid fire, easy for you questions. So
Love it.
that's awesome. So Dave, we'll start with you. Dave and I and Adam actually starred in a very well-known podcast years ago called Not Another Waste of a Podcast. Oh yeah,
It was just another waste of a podcast.
Another Waste of a Podcast. And that show ran for a long. You guys were on before I came,
Yes.
and then I was on for like 70 shows or something like that. Maybe I think
there was
maybe
69. 69th show?
Nope,
Something
nope,
about
nope.
now?
That was one of the shows. That was one of the shows. But then you guys ran after it, and it was just a fun show where we got on. What was it, like once a week, and we just kind of talked about what was going on and what's happening in our lives, and if we've seen anything interesting. But Dave was on the other side. He was the host of the show, and he ran it all. He had to contain. It was really almost like Adam, like a zookeeper, right? Like it was like Adam was Dave was the zookeeper, and he just had to contain when we were on, and it was fun. And then we had Aaron, who came in and kind of leveled us all out, and then we also had Sarah come in, and again, kind of, I feel like they kind of calmed us down a little bit. But it was a fun show. I really liked that show.
Yeah, we started, I guess, in 2011.
Oh wow!
It was me and Adam and our friend at the time, Mikey, and it was the three of us, and I think we only got up to like 7 or 8 shows before Mikey left, and then a few shows later we brought in intern Nick.
Yep.
And though we never did get you to do too many wacky stunts.
No, I did the milk though, didn't I? What did I?
You never did the milk.
What did I eat that time?
You ate Twinkies.
Twinkies, that's right. I ate a box of Twinkies.
You were supposed to eat a number of Twinkies in under a minute. I don't remember what it was.
I ended up eating a box by the end of the show. I tell you that.
Yeah, well, I think you just kept going.
Yeah.
And then you left. It was then you, like you said, Aaron, who I worked with, came on the show. Sarah came on the show, my wife. And then you left, and we kept going. We had Ryan O. Was our new intern, and then we kind of
big boots. That guy.
You can say we fizzled out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, lives happen and stuff like that.
Well, something happened with our technology, didn't it?
A lot of things kept going wrong. My computers kept burning out. Now, listen, what you guys have, this is state of the art. What I had my master computer, and I had a laptop that Adam was on Skype, and I had a second laptop that was running music and sound, and then I had a soundboard that controlled it, and we had wires everywhere.
I had to sit on a stool. I didn't even have a chair. I had a stool.
Didn't have a chair for the longest time. You had to bring his own chair.
No, I never had a chair, Dave.
You had a chair. It was just a crappy chair.
I think. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was something that you dug out of a trash can.
Right over there. No, it was a bad chair, and if you were near the ground, you sat in that corner over there, and
my ass was this far away from the ground.
Yeah, it was bad. The mic stands. You physically built our mic stands out of trash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like old lamp pieces and all that stuff. Oh yeah.
And
Jimmy rigged it.
If we wanted to have another guest on, I had to have a second laptop going with another Skype line, and it was all going into this mixing board that was all going into the computer and all being recorded on Audacity. So wow. Audacity recorded all the sound, and I had to mix it as we went along. So if there was anything that sounded bad, it didn't matter. We couldn't fix it. And that was the last show we did. Sounded so terrible that I couldn't even use it.
Wow. So now, Dave, what made you want to do a podcast? Like, was it just something you and Adam and Mikey kind of drummed up and were like, oh, hey, we should do this? Or like, what kind of brought you to Another Waste of a Podcast?
I've always been a fan of talk radio. When I grew up in Chicago, I listened to The Loop 97.9. At the time was all talk. The hosts were Steve and Gary were the morning hosts. Jonathan Brandmeier, Danny Bonaducci, who was he started off at the 3 a.m. shift and worked his way off into being a huge radio personality. And
Partridge
I always wanted to get
wasn't working out. I mean, come on.
What's that?
I said the Partridge Family wasn't working out for him anymore.
You know what? I'm not going to tell his story. But I never got into radio because I had guidance counselors who told me not to do it. They said that you're never going to be, the one thing that's constant about radio is getting fired. And you're just going to move up and down the states until you find a job that's going to hold you, and then you're going to get fired again. And so technology finally caught up to my dreams of having my own radio show. And technology, like I said, not this. But I was able to jerry rig a show, and I contacted my good friend Adam, who I think is very funny. And I thought, we're very funny when we talk to each. I know we're very funny when we talk to each other. That I think we would be good bouncing off each other. And the same thing with Mikey. I thought all three of us would be great bouncing off each other.
Right. That's awesome. And Adam, were you like super excited to be on a show? I mean, you were so fun. That's how me and you met, was on the show. I don't think I ever met you beforehand.
Yes.
We had several shows under our belt before you traveled down to the sunny state, the City Beautiful, before we actually ever met.
I pretty much, whenever Dave Martinez says something, hey, let's do this, I'm always going to be the, yep, let's do it. Because Dave has amazing ideas with everything. Like our Drinking Around the World videos was Dave. Like when Dave has a project, if he ever calls me and says, let's do it, I'm first one on board. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, when we were doing, me and Jason were joking because we were doing research on you guys so we could have stuff ready to go and stuff. And it was funny because Jason's like, well, their profiles aren't public, so I only know so much. And I was like, just ask him to be it's fine. Right. But I started with Adam.
You didn't see our Wikipedia page?
I know, right? So I started with Adam. And Adam was great. Like, I mean, I had questions and this and that, like, and then I found out like his Facebook cuts off at like 2008, but he just recently started to post a lot of stuff, and I had Adam done in like 15 minutes. I was able to scroll through and write stuff down. Dave, I couldn't get to last week with your Facebook in 30. Like I was just scrolling, and it was just like pictures of the kids and your life, and I'm just like, okay, well, this is what I know about Dave.
Very fascinating.
That's awesome. So now I'm going to bounce it to Adam, I can, hold on, I have it pulled up. Adam, I can Google your name. By the way, Dave, I tried to Google yours, but there's a famous baseball player.
It's
a lot.
So you'll find if you Google my name, you'll find Dave Martinez, the baseball player from the Chicago White Sox. If you look up Dave Martinez comedy, there's a guy in Texas who does comedy. His name is Dave Martinez. If you look up Dave Martinez singing, you'll find a guy, I think, out of Arizona who is a singer-songwriter named Dave Martinez. So, yes.
So yeah, you were in the whole
way,
Dave
way
was really hard to figure things out.
Way down.
So now, Adam, you are, sir. I can all about the arts. You have an IMDb page of. I mean, I could read all of these off.
I
but
do?
You have been yes. You have been many players. You have been Smee. You've been Uncle Fester, LeFou, Curly McLean, Harold Hill. And you won Best Director for Shrek the Musical.
Wow!
Like, congratulations,
and the producers, the musical,
and producers. Yes. So now, what made you want to get into? Like, was it the acting bug that hit you first? Then you got into directing, or like, how did that work?
It definitely was. So I didn't really start directing until after I had done improv. Oh, we have a bad connection.
You're good. Keep talking.
You hear me?
You're good. Yeah.
You can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And so while I was doing improv, I really got focused on character building, like how to become someone else. And then when I would go and watch some shows, I did not see the actors doing that, like theater productions, right? Like community theater and stuff like that. And I thought, it would be really helpful and beneficial if they had a director that really focused on character building. And so then I went and submitted to direct a show, and it was a comedy, of course, which is what I excel at. And the minute I started doing that, I fell in love with the directing side, like the really watching scenes and kind of talking people through, characters and things like that. And I really don't ever give like line readings and stuff like that. What my biggest thing is I really question people into, okay, why did your character need to do that? Why were they thinking that? And then I let them tell me why they were doing it. I have an idea of why a character might be doing something, but the actor needs to know what it is that they're doing. So that really appealed to me. And so I really just kind of took that on, as as my thing. I was like, I'm good at this. Like, I enjoy directing, and I have done it for a very long time now. I think the first like big show I did was in 2009, and now I've done, gosh, I couldn't even tell you how many since then. 15, 20.
You can tell us.
Oh,
So talking about building characters, like this is beautiful. Like I like building characters and stuff like that. Like I find myself in life, like I'm always in the gray zone, right? Like there's a way you can do it, and then there's a way you're not supposed to do it. And I kind of find the fun in between, right? So have you ever had an actor on one of your shows that you were just like trying to say, like, well, you're Captain Hook, like you are like you're a pirate, like you're the king, like you're the best, and they're just like they're not getting it, versus like the guy that walks in and he's like, ahoy, Adam, the captain, the director, and I am Captain Hook. Like, do you just have like, did you ever have like polar opposite, like somebody that you're just like, hold on, I love what you're doing, but rein it back? Or do you let them go versus like trying to pull?
You have to rein it back.
Not gonna happen.
You have, so like there are sometimes, and I guess, it depends on how big somebody goes or how big somebody gets, because ultimately when you're working with other people, you're trying to get them all to be consistent in what they're giving everybody throughout every performance. And a lot of times if you have an actor that just goes too much all the time, when they get an audience and the audience starts laughing, then those are the people that just keep going bigger and trying to do more things to get laughs. Right. So you really have to nail it down as like, okay, this is how we're doing it. It needs to be like clockwork so that everybody in the scene that you're with knows what you're going to do. Right. So you're not going to throw them a loop and then it causes the show to stop because the person forgets a line or something like that because of that.
Right.
But I would rather somebody come in to me too big and let me bring them to where they need to be than somebody come in with nothing, and it's harder to get them to a bigger state.
I had a very similar aspect to that. I was in for a company that I was working for. They had like where they the employees could come through and do stuff, and it was Shakespeare, and we were doing it the Shakespearean way. And I was told, like, when I auditioned, they were like, it was a Midsummer Night's Dream, and they wanted me to play Bottom. And for anybody that knows, like, he's like in the entire play, like memorizing lines and all this. And I would say I'm an actor, but I am not by any means somebody that can remember paragraphs of dialogue and all this other stuff. So I told the director, I said, I can't do it. Can I play like somebody like a little bit less? And so I got Francis Flute, who's part of, the little section of the thing. And the problem is in the play, the guy that played Bottom did exactly what you did, Adam. Like the director couldn't rein him in, and he was just going so big that he would trip over his feet. And like, he wasn't getting laughs as in laughs. They were laughing almost at him. Meanwhile, I'm up on stage just going, oh shit, don't forget your line. Oh shit, don't forget your line. And it was coming through my character, and everybody was laughing at what I was doing. Meanwhile, I'm just like, I gotta get through this. I gotta get through this line. So yeah, I've been in those shoes where it's like you get people that you just kind of like rein in. So wow.
We saw that show, Nick. You did very well.
Yeah. Thank you. I had Brazier out to here. That was the funniest thing. Now, Adam, you have been many a character. And do you have a favorite one that you've like? Are you like method? Like when you walk in, do you want people to call you like Uncle Fester, or are you Adam until obviously you don't have to put hair and makeup on? Well, not too much makeup, but the hair is already there. Right. Like, do you walk in like Adam, and then you walk out in your cloak and you're just like, I'm Fester? Or are you pretty much like, can you turn it on and off?
I can turn it on and off. I really, though, like before a show, like my biggest thing is I do spend a lot of time by myself. So like I'll listen to music or I'll do something like that. And before the show starts, I sit just kind of off away from everybody else. It can kind of feel like, I guess, diva-ish, but I don't like yell at people or anything like that, but I just kind of do my own thing, and that's just how I get into it. And then once the show starts, I can come off stage and be talking with everybody and go right back on and just right back into character. So it's just that like right before the show is when I really need just that time to really kind of get into who I am.
So I want to know, this is the details part of it. When does your music beforehand depict on what character you're playing? Or is it like, do you always like listen to Nirvana like all the time and it doesn't matter who you're playing?
It's whatever songs I like at the moment that get me pumped up. Okay. So it's always Mr. Brightside, because
I love that song.
What other song gets white people turned than Mr. Brightside, right? So that's me.
So it doesn't matter the character. It's you have your pump
doesn't
up.
Matter the character.
Okay, I didn't know like Uncle Fester, you're listening to like gothic rock versus like Captain Hook, you're listening to like sea shanties or something like that. Like
I probably should do that.
But it's like, but what gets you in the mode? Like what kind of calms you down, just kind of spaces you out and stuff like that. Okay. Now, when you're in a show, like, do you like, how does memorizing lines come to you? Do you find it like you can read through it and you can memorize it? Do you like every time I did a show, I was like, oh shit, don't forget this. Oh shit, I'm going to forget this line. Like, oh God, I'm going to forget it. Or are you pretty much just like, nope, I can do this?
When I was younger, I was very good at just picking it up and memorizing it. But now that I'm 46, it's a little more difficult. But what I've picked up, especially through improv, is and I don't do this a lot, but like I don't feel nervous with lines anymore, because I know that if I get caught, I can improvise my way through something. Okay. But what I do now to memorize lines is I record them and I will play them back and listen to them all day long while I'm at work or whatever. Like that's what I have playing. And so then just the osmosis, it really starts to help. Like when you think about it, like you guys can listen to a song all day when you're working, right? And it's just in the background. But then if you were to, and you're still working, but if you get home and then listen or like just hear that song, you're going to be able to sing it word for word. So that really helped me. And then it's kind of fun to like go in and read the script, so I know it. So like I'll go in, I'll read the whole thing and listen to it. Then I'll create another track. It depends on how many lines I have, where it's the lines leading into mine. And then I leave blank spaces for me to respond.
Now, when you record it like monotone, like Frankly Dear? I don't give it.
No.
Or is it like with the inflection that you feel that should be in it?
Yes, it's with the inflection, and I also do character voices for the other people just so I know who's coming in.
Who's coming in? Now to kind of flop it to Dave, who I know. Dave, please tell us how famous are you in Singapore, sir? That you've done comedy in Singapore.
So it's funny you mentioned that, Adam. I don't know if you can see behind me. Mikey sent me the banner that was hanging in front of the Hard Rock Cafe. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yep.
He sent me this enormous banner. I just slapped it on the wall. But
I love it.
I mean, it cost him like $18 to send.
But, so now, how did that happen, Dave? How did you go from sunny St. Louis to Singapore doing comedy?
I was very fortunate that Adam had to officiate a lesbian wedding.
Okay.
Or he would have gone.
I was the best man.
Oh, you're the best man at a lesbian wedding. Yeah. So what happened? We were at City Improv, and this company called What's My Line Entertainment contacted us through email on our website and said, "Hey, we're looking at bringing improv groups to Singapore to do shows. Are you interested?" And we all went, "Sure," thinking nothing of it. But like, who's gonna we're gonna go to Singapore. And I remember getting on stage saying, "Hey, we're gonna go to Singapore." And then like 4 months later, they contacted us and said, "Hey, how would you like to go in April?" And we went, "Oh shit, yes, sure." so we put it out there, and I think they needed 7 of us to go. and 6 to perform, 1 to host. And I wasn't on the original group. Adam was on, I think, going to be on the original group. But then he dropped off, and they said, "Who has a passport?" And I'm like, "I do." So yeah, we went to Singapore. They paid for our flights. They paid for our hotel. They paid for half of our food at Hard Rock Cafe Singapore. We performed at our main shows were at the Hard Rock Cafe Singapore on the main stage, not on the main restaurant stage, but we performed at what was it? The U.S. Embassy. So we did a lunchtime show for the U.S. Embassy. We did a show for Hard Rock of people who worked there, and we did a show for a place called, I think it was Teen Challenge, and this was out in the middle of the jungle. Was this church, and
so a lot of laughs then.
Yeah, it was. This was the hottest place I've ever been to in my entire life. First of all, Singapore, you had to, when I was there, I showered 2 times a day because it was so hot and so much sweating. Ooh. But we went to this church and we did a show at this church, and then afterwards we did a class with the teachers because we had to teach the teachers on how to be kids, because these kids, even though they were in this place called Teen Challenge, they were the violent ones towards their parents. So they were sent away because they were violent. So the teachers had to teach them how to be kids again. So that was what we did, and that was the best. That was the most rewarding part of it. Besides, going to the beach and eating a lot of Hard Rock Cafe cheeseburgers and just walking around. Adam talks about the drinking around the world video. I made a 10-part video for all of us in Singapore as well. Us walking down the streets. It's illegal to sing in public, and we're walking down the street singing out at the top of our lungs because we were wasted at this blues bar. It's also illegal to stand on tables. Yet at this one karaoke bar we were at, there were horns, like honking horns on the ceiling. So people would stand on tables to honk the horns. So, they're constantly mocking their own laws. We did. Wow. We followed all the rest of the laws. But yeah, we had a great time.
All going on. Right?
Yeah, there was. Okay, so right before we left, we invaded Iraq. So this was 2003. So the hosts contacted us and said, "Hey, listen, there's going to be no tourists there, but we're gonna market this towards the locals." And we're like, all right. And then about a few days before we left, SARS. If everyone remembers SARS, it was popular before COVID was popular. It broke out throughout China, and he said, "Listen, it's going to cost us more to cancel than for you to come out here. So we might as well just come out here. Even if we don't do shows, we'll have a few drinks and we'll have a good time." So
wow, so it was pretty much like a paid vacation to Singapore.
It was, and we had a good time. And one of our guys did get sick, but he did not have SARS. But he lost his voice and wore a mask, and we were terrified on the plane home because they were
quarantining people.
Yeah, quarantining people left to right, but he just kept his mouth shut and survived. He survived the flight. But no, we had a great time. The thing that was a bummer was at the Hard Rock. I don't know if you've ever been to one of these establishments, but in the restaurant area, it's that big dome, right? You're in this big dome, and sound goes straight up into this dome. So here we are on stage, and nobody could hear us in the audience. They couldn't hear a word we were saying, so they had to put microphones on stage. And here we are doing improv, talking into microphones as we're walking around. And our hosts had 2 different ideas of what they wanted. One guy was like, "Let us go." The other guy was like, "You can't sing on stage." But Singapore people love singing, so we were like, "We're going to do a singing song," and they loved it. So it was crazy. It was a good time.
That's awesome. Now, have you done stand up, Dave, or has it been like improv?
Adam's nodding yes. I did do a little stand up after the improv boom died in St. Louis. What was it? The Laugh. What the hell is that club called? Laughs on the Landing.
Laughs on the Landing. Yep.
Yeah, Laughs on the Landing too, isn't it?
Well, I don't know what at the time it was Laughs on the Landing, and they stopped supporting us for improv, and they were only doing stand up. So everyone else was doing stand up. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So yeah, I did stand up for about a year and a half.
Wow,
nice.
Probably a good solid 15 minutes.
Yeah. What was your killer? What was your joke? Tell us your killer.
I know what Adam wants me to tell. my killer, I can't tell it in Florida because apparently it's too offensive. And it was considered super edgy, but I'm like, I really didn't consider that at the time. But I told a joke about, I started talking about, because I'm from Chicago, and I talked about the Chicago Bears at the time were in the playoffs. And I remember when the Chicago Bears were in the playoffs when I was a kid in 1985, they wrote the Super Bowl Shuffle. Right, they wrote a song about going to the Super Bowl, and this was at the beginning of the playoffs. They still had like two or three.
They hadn't even gone to the Super Bowl.
They hadn't gone to the Super Bowl yet. They've achieved nothing. If they had lost, that would have been super embarrassing. And then I said, "What would be? What if the good thing that trend never really picked up, and people doing, singing songs about things they didn't accomplish yet, like the Challenger shuttle crew. We are the Challenger shuttle crew. We're going to space. We're doing it for you." So.
Too soon?
Too soon?
It's been a while.
Apparently, that was what got me through a lot of shows.
Wow. Now, Dave, what do you think? Now, Adam, have you ever done stand-up?
Nope.
So, Dave, to you then, like, what do you think now? A lot of the stand-up is now just heckling the audience. Like, I know that was big for certain comedians would do it. But now it's like a lot of the comedians will just kind of like, Don Rickles, the front row. I mean,
well, what you're seeing is not their act. So I can't remember the guy's name all of a sudden. He's the super big comedian
Matt
right
Rife.
now.
Matt Rife, right?
Yeah, Matt Rife.
Right.
What you're seeing, that's not his act. That's not what he does. But he can't put his act on YouTube or on Instagram because then he won't be able to perform that act. So what he can do is he gets this audience interaction. He gets some good laughs out of that. He'll never do that again. So then he posts that online. So that's what you're seeing. That's what a lot of these people are doing. Because once you put your jokes online, it's done. You can't do them again.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of Matt Friend, the guy that does the impersonations? Like he does like you got to look up Matt Friend. Like he does like the best impressions of a lot of people, and he's a young guy too. And
better than Rich Little.
But I've listened to his comedy, and I'm like, you're not funny. But whenever you do the impressions, you're funny. Like, so the point, like the guy sounds just like Donald Trump, or like they have him on all these news stations, like
he's funny
Donald
as
Trump this or Harold Ramis. That's not right. Howard Stern, he's on Howard Stern as Howard Stern, and Howard Stern's like, you don't sound anything like me. That was a terrible Howard Stern impression, but and the guy sounds just like Howard Stern. It was so. Do it
again.
Funny.
Do your Howard Stern again.
I'm not Howard Stern. No, that's not
right
at all. That's terrible.
That's perfect.
That's terrible.
I couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
It was Nick
so
talking.
now to kind of ping pong it, Jason, I'm kind of hogging the whole airtime here. What do you like?
Yeah, actually, so Adam, I got a question for you. One of the things that's always fascinated me is when there's a director that also acts in their own movies or shows. Have you ever done that before? And if so, like, how was that? Like, how do you direct yourself?
So I've only ever done it on like video things that I've made myself. I've never done it like in a play or anything like that because I have to see what is being shown to the audience. So unless there's a recording of it, I can't see it or give myself notes on how to make the scene better or make what I'm doing better. So when I see people like, you hear like, oh yeah, Clint Eastwood, he does all his, I mean, Clint Eastwood is Clint Eastwood. You know what I mean? Like, get off my lawn. He could just say that in every movie and it's the same, right? He said it in, $1 Million Baby. And then he also said the same thing in Gran Torino, but I can't do it. Like I would love to because, well, also, who are we kidding, Nick and Jason? I am not famous enough to be like, yes, I'm going to direct myself in my own.
I'm going to do it both.
But to your point, though, Adam. But to your point, though, I think and to Jason's question, I think theater, which you're in, is different than movies, right?
Yeah.
Because movies you can cut, slap it. You're in the scene as the director, and you can talk to your co-stars like, I think this is how we should do it, right? Cut, slap, go to the next scene.
Yes.
But when you're in theater, it's it's the run through, right? And as the director,
Oh, yeah.
you know that the entire time somebody is throwing up backstage, or the stagehand is saying this light doesn't light up, or the door's stuck, or so and so can't get into their costume because their zipper's up, and you can't do that if you're on stage. Like you'd have to have your assistant director and stuff like that, and then it's like, well, what the hell are you directing?
Yes.
You're just on stage.
Mhm.
So I think to your point, yeah, it's you almost can't do it the theater, but you could do it in the movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would certainly be much easier to do it in the movies. I
Mhm.
personally would say don't do it, only because as a director, a lot of time, and an actor, a lot of times you get something in your head and you're like, no, this is working. And then if other people see it and they're like, it's not working, but you're the director, you have the ultimate say. You can just keep going, oh yeah, well, let's do it.
That's
I'm just
Yeah.
doing it this way,
No,
even
Mr.
though everyone
C
else
should
is
have an
telling you,
Italian
no.
accent. It's like, no, that's not how
Right.
it works. Yeah.
You too skinny. You don't need to
Come here, Captain Hook. It's like, no, Adam, that's not the director. No, I'm the director. That's wow.
Oh yeah. Who says? Right. I got this. Don't tell me
Yeah.
what to do.
So I have a quick one for Adam, and then I got another one for Dave, and then I can pass it to Jason. Adam, I know when we met, you were an open canvas per se, and now you have quite a number of tattoos, and you actually just got a matching one with your daughter. I thought that was beautiful.
Yes,
I love you.
I did.
I love you 3000, Dad. Like, that's so beautiful. I think Adam went it's almost like a half seas, right? Like Adam went full blown Iron Man, and Molly was just like, I love you 3000. I'm cute. I'm a girl. So it was really cute. Like,
Yep.
it was, so my question to you is, now that you're a gallery of art, do you just because I also have tattoos, and some of them mean things, other ones I'm just like, I thought it was cool. Like, do you get that question, like, well, what does that mean to you? Like, why did you, like, do you hate that question, or do you have a meaning for all of your tattoos?
I have a meaning for all of my tattoos.
Okay.
I don't hate the question. Like, if somebody really is interested and wants to know, like,
Yeah.
each one of them has something important for me,
Okay.
and whether it was a time in my life when I got it and I just wanted to remember it,
Right.
or it was, something meaningful. Like, I've got the rule of improv tattooed on my shin, yes, and so, that's just that's what I do. I mean, actually, now I will say that on my birthday, I was supposed to get one, which was just a couple days ago.
By the way, happy belated
And,
birthday, sir.
Hey,
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you,
birthday.
thank you. But my artist dogs got sick, and he had taken it to April 14th. But what I did with my artist for this one is, because everything I've gotten from this particular artist so far has been me having an idea and saying, I want the believe sign from Ted Lasso tattooed. I want yes or I want Captain Jack's, Sparrow tattoo. And so, like, and like Iron Man, and he did my Iron Man in more of an American traditional style, which is an awesome style, and that's what he's good at.
I love that.
So I like that, but I also wanted him to have some more artistic freedom. So I said, I'm just going to give you my calf, the backside, and you can make whatever you want and put it on my leg.
Wow. What if the man is like, you know what? I'm really feeling like a pig with wings, art and fire, like today. Like, you're just
the only stipulation I gave him was that I don't want a snake or a spider. I said those two things are that's just not my style.
No body parts. Like, no.
I mean,
I'd be like, no body parts, no snakes, no spiders.
Right. Oh yeah,
no
that
names.
he wouldn't do that to me, because
list of racist words.
You're a good client.
List
You're a
of
good
racist
client,
words.
right? You're a good client.
yes, because I wouldn't go back.
Yeah. See, I asked the question because, like, I have also meanings for mine, but sometimes I feel like there's judgment behind, like, when they ask, what does it mean to you? And I tell them, and they're just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, no, I made my body. I made
That's
the
just
choice.
the one
to
on your
get
butt.
there. I don't need you to justify my justification. So yeah,
And I would
just felt
agree
like it
with
was
you. Like
heavy.
I could tell everybody what each one of mine means, and if they don't agree with it, I don't care.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
don't have to have it on your body. I do.
right.
You know, like this is what I needed. And what I like about the current artist that I'm using is I asked him, I was like, is there tattoos you don't like doing? And he said,
Koi
like,
fish.
and I don't mean like Nazi propaganda and stuff like that, because nobody does that. But like, I mean, like if somebody were to come in and say, "Oh, I want flowers or rainbows or
Right.
whatever,"
Mhm.
he's like, "No," he's like, "I don't care what I tattoo." He goes, because every person coming in there has thought to themselves, "This tattoo means something to me, and I
Right.
need to have this for whatever reason they have."
Right. Well,
And to me, I
good
thought
reason to
that
do
was
it.
the perfect answer.
Yeah.
And he's like,
That's a good
"I'm
reason to
just
do it.
happy that they chose me to do their tattoo."
Right. Now, have they hurt, or is it that
Oh,
like
yeah.
for me, like I haven't had one that really hurt yet. So I'm like, everybody says, "Oh my god, they hurt so bad." This, like, I'm almost like picking different parts of my body to be like, "Ah, this is the spot," and it doesn't. Like I'm waiting for that pain. I don't know why I want that pain, but
Somebody
I'm
has a
waiting
kink.
for it.
That's
Yeah.
a different show.
It depends. It depends. It depends on where you get it. Like,
Yeah.
because the outer side of the arm, whether it be the forearm or the upper arm, like the bicep, to me, I
Yeah.
don't ever feel any of it. But when I got my sleeve, oh, that inside of your arm didn't hurt?
Nothing. Didn't feel it. Like I
Wow.
felt it.
Okay.
I felt it, but it wasn't like,
Yeah.
you know.
But is it just words?
Yeah, it's just words. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like my sleeve is a phoenix, so I've got a lot of
Right.
shading in there, and that
Right.
there's a nerve that if they hit it directly on that nerve in your arm, the pain shoots up into your armpit.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
that is a terrible feeling. Like it was one of those things where my artist was like, "Now be ready." He's like, "Cause I'm gonna be on this spot for like 15 minutes,
Oh.
just shading it in."
Ooh.
So he goes, "You're
Now-
gonna feel it." I was just like, I mean, I
Your
couldn't
sleeve
talk.
goes from here, right? Like it goes all the
Oh,
way
yeah.
up. It's the whole thing. Now,
Oh,
did
yeah.
you ever get to a
whole
point
thing.
where you were just like, I can't do it anymore?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
You were like, I gotta get this. Like, it
And I
was
got
never.
like two of the hardest places to get a tattoo is the ditch and the elbow. And the ditch is your inner elbow, and then
Right.
obviously your elbow is your elbow.
Wow.
And those hurt because it's
Yeah.
real thin skin. It's real thin, and it's
Right.
just tattooing over and over again. And of course,
Hmm.
mine is all color, all shaded, all right there in the ditch. So it's like, it was painful. And then on
Painful.
the shin was painful because hitting that bone over and over and over and over again was just miserable.
Oh,
But it's
man.
never been
But
enough that
you
it
just
made me
tough through
say,
it,
"All right,
like,
stop."
yeah. Yeah. Wow. So now, Dave, pigging back on tattoos with you, because I know you don't have any. You're in a band,
He's
sir.
getting one.
You're in many of bands. You are in. Hold on, I wrote it down. I want to get it right so I can say it correctly. Last Train to Liverpool with your brother.
Yep.
Right. You are in No Idea right now
Yep.
with other people. You, sir, are. Yeah, I didn't look them up. You, sir, are obsessed with the Beatles, obviously, because you have one. Dave, you traveled to Liverpool to, I think, play where the Beatles played. Correct?
That is false. My brother, his band, and to give a plug, Jay Gupner's Backdated, they applied and made it into International Beatle Week in 2018. And when I found out, I'm like, well, I can't not go. So
Right.
I piggybacked and I flew down there ahead of them, and I kind of got the lay of the land. And yeah, I enjoyed being immersed in the Beatles, and while I was there, I had a great time. And then when I left and came home, I thought, I play bass. I'm a musician. Why can't I play that stage? So COVID happened, and I convinced my brother to form an online band. called Last Train to Liverpool. And for the first few weeks of COVID, we recorded songs like every other day and posted them on the internet. And it was because on my love of the Monkees and Beatles, I thought this was a great hybrid, playing both, that maybe people in Liverpool would enjoy hearing the Beatles and a little something different while we're there.
Right.
And while we were playing, I was able to get my friend Antonio, who I knew from college way back in the day. And he was a drummer, and we'd always wanted to be in a project together. I'm like, Antonio, let's do this. So he's in California. My brother's in Chicago. I'm in Orlando. And so we all started recording together separately until the show in Delray Beach, Florida, International Beatles on the Beach, came along, and I put us in for that, and we made it, and which wasn't difficult. And we flew to Chicago once, and we jammed for one night. I flew to Chicago for one night and flew home the next day. And then we met again when we got to Delray. Anthony met us the night before our first show. Actually, I think it was the night of our first show, now that I think about it.
Wasn't
we
he
jammed
late?
that. What's that?
Wasn't he late? The one show?
No, he was late for a kind of a jam session that we were doing.
Oh, okay.
But it was still scheduled, but he just
I'll fire my intern. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that necessary. But yeah, we played three nice little shows. We had a fan. This guy met us on our first day, and he came to every single show.
Wow.
And then,
how does that feel, Dave? How does
that?
that feel, though? How does that feel? Like when you have that, like you go, you're not from Delray. You know, your brother's not. Like they fly in. You guys go down and play, and your music, and you sing. You're saying like you touched. That's maybe the wrong word. You affected this person, this man, so much so that he came back and saw 3 shows. Like that's got to feel pretty spectacular. It's not like a friend or anything like that. I mean, this is Joe Schmo.
It is a good feeling to know that people enjoy you enough to come back and see you again and again. It's hard to take the praise sometimes. A little embarrassing, like, oh, come on, we're not that good. You don't need to see us. But this guy, he came back every single show. And we played 3 shows, and I think he saw a couple jam sessions as well. But the topper of all of it, and we were I got a phone call the last day, in the first thing in the morning. I had no voice. I couldn't talk because I had sang my voice out the night before. And the promoter, Daniel, calls me up and goes, hey, I got something for you today. I'm like, oh, what's going on? He goes, you're supposed to start at 2:45, but I need you to start at noon and play for 2.5 hours. And we're like, what? Like, we don't have 2.5 hours worth of music. And he goes, it's okay. I've got another guy for you. He goes, this guy, Mike Burns, is going to jam with you. So we're like, oh, all right. We didn't know who this guy Mike Burns was. This British guy walks up to us, and he goes, hey, mate, here's a couple songs I want to do. And he gives us a list of 10 songs that my brother and I had never played before in our entire lives. So we go upstairs, get on Spotify, and we both sit there and we learn the songs as fast as we can. I'm calling Anthony. I'm like, yeah, you got to get here 2 hours early. We're doing a show. It's a different time. So we all get there. But at the exact same time we're supposed to start, the World Cup is still going on the TVs.
Oh.
And I don't know if you know anything about sports, apparently people like to watch sports. And they don't want to listen to some Beatles and Monkees music. They want to watch their World Cup. So we had to wait and wait and wait. I think we waited an hour for the World Cup to finally end. So our 2.5 hours turned out to be just a normal set. But we went up there and we jammed and we played our set. And when we were done, Mike Burns was coming up. And that's when we found out that he grew up in Liverpool. He was at the Cavern Club when the Beatles were there. His band played at the Cavern Club while the Beatles played there. His wife dated George Harrison before they were famous. He created the Beatle Museum that's in Liverpool. I went to that museum when I was there. He created the museum, and he was going to jam with us. And he comes up on stage and he tells the audience, and this isn't on film, and I know he said it because I was there. He goes, when his wife, they were signing autographs for this book in the other room, and he said when he heard us play the song that the Beatles did called Besame Mucho. They played this song back in the Hamburg, Germany days, and they played it in the early days of the Cavern Club. He said when he heard us playing, he stopped what he was doing, and he turns to his wife and he goes, I'm at the Cavern Club again. I'm back at the Cavern.
Wow.
Like our music. So that meant more than our fan. But I mean, and then we got to play with the guy, and this guy is an outstanding Jerry Lee Lewis. I don't want to say impersonator, but I mean he sounds and plays the piano just like Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean this guy was amazing. So we got to jam out with him for a few songs, and he really wanted us to come down to Beatle Week last year, and we didn't make it, so I couldn't afford to go. And this year we didn't make it again, but that's only because I couldn't apply because Backdated, my brother's band, made it again. So they're going, and my brother couldn't double dip, so we couldn't both apply at the same time.
Yeah.
So I let his daughter is in contact with me, so I let her know that my brother Rob was going to be there. But yeah, that was that's so he made jam with Mike out there.
So many questions I have for you, Dave. Like,
please go on.
So when you go to Liverpool with a band, for one of the two bands that you love,
you take a plane.
I know you get there by plane, Dave. Were your arms tired? Like how did you what did that mean to you when you walked into the Cavern Club? Like, what did that? Was it just like walking in and you're just like, oh wow, like walking into anything, or did you feel like this is the same similar air that they breathed? You know, like they touched this brick. Like I've been in that. I've been like, oh man, I'm walking the same place like Hulk Hogan did, or like I touched like they got some. He's in your shelf. That's what made me think of him. Like
people hate it. People hate it when People hate when I tell this story, but so the Cavern Club itself.
It's a good way to start the story, Dave.
I know the Cavern Club itself closed, I believe, in the late '60s, early '70s, and then was torn down. Now, mind you, this was in a sub basement. So right. They tore it down to build a ventilation shaft for the subway, and then they moved across the street. And then what they ended up doing was they rebuilt the Cavern Club just like 30 feet away from where it originally was. So it takes place in the 70% of what the Cavern Club was, but it's not the original space. So they rebuilt it with the same bricks. The bricks were all there. Okay. Yeah, so they just reused all the bricks.
Right.
So it was but still, the history of walking through there, it was, I got there, like I said, a couple days early, and the first day of the festival, International Beatle Week, I was there first thing in the morning to see the first act, and we were all, just me and like 15 other people were milling around outside. And when they opened the doors, I paid my $10, and then you walk down this long spiral staircase, and it's got Cavern Club painted on all the walls, and there's pictures on all the walls, and there's playing Beatles music as you're coming in. I mean, you feel it. You feel the history. It affects you. And I got a drink, and I sat down, and I'm like, I videotaped the entire thing, so I've got it all on tape. I'll play it right now. No.
Wow.
But and then I'll give a plug out for this guy Cavern Clark. He is now one of the promoters of the Beatle Week. But he gets up there and he starts playing, and it's just one guy playing guitar and playing Beatles music, and there's people standing up and dancing. I'm like, wow, like, it was something else. And then there's another room on the other side that has an enormous, I shouldn't say enormous, has a much larger stage. So if Paul McCartney ever comes to town, that's where he goes. He goes to the big stage. The Cavern Club's main stage itself is very small. It's very small.
Wow. Right.
Four people barely fit on there. My brother's band, 5 people barely fit on there. Like it was rough. But it was fun. And then coming back that night and just being jammed with people while we're all watching this, the different versions of the Beatles. Because it wasn't, because that's the fun thing about it. It's not just everyone as a Beatles tribute band. They're not all dressed like the Beatles. They're not all wearing the Beatle wigs.
Right.
There were a lot. But there are other bands like this band called Serial that played a very funk version of the Beatles.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there was another one that played another like a kind of a fusion style. There was a band, Big Club Beatles, played all bossa nova Beatles songs, like everything was in the bossa nova. But then there was bands like Abbey Rome from Italy that was dressed just like the Beatles, and they had very thick Italian accents, or the Japanese bands who had very thick Japanese accents singing Beatles songs. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Wow.
I'm dying to go back.
Yeah. So
I don't want to die.
now my second half of that, and then I'll pong it over to Jason, is you are in a band, multiple
Yes.
bands with your brother, or have been, right?
Yeah,
So as we were just speaking about the Beatles, who famously broke up,
they did.
like that has to be like, do you and your brother always see eye to eye when playing? Like, do you argue with each other? Like, you just it's not like breaking up with somebody that you don't know. It's like he's your brother, so there's
Listen.
only so much.
We're not Oasis.
Yeah.
We're not the Gallagher brothers. We're not having
Right.
fistfights on stage. We do fight. We do disagree. He has a very he gets an idea of what he wants, and that's it. And I have to chip away at his ideas in order, because as solid as he is, I'm also very focused on what I want. And you know, he kept telling me it's my band. He goes, it's your band, it's your band. I'm like, okay, but then he would be like, we're gonna do this. Like,
So to like Adam's actor point, who's the big one that you have to reel in, and then who's the one that you probably have to pump up to the band? Is Rob the guy that you're like, no, dude, like you got some grand ideas, but this is
he
the
doesn't
level
wanna
that
do
we're
it.
at, or you
He
guys
doesn't wanna-
are like,
He doesn't want to do it at all. He's in 3 other bands in Chicago. He doesn't want to do this. I'm
wow.
forcing him to do this to
Yeah.
fulfill my dream. But I can't get to Liverpool without him.
Yeah.
The band that I'm in right now, these guys are 10 to 15 years older than me. They're never going to make that flight. Sorry,
Right.
guys. But,
Well, don't tell them about this podcast. Oh, there goes
Yeah.
3 fans.
yeah, but no, he's got a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge. He's been doing this for, you know, I always like to say he's taught me everything that I know, but not everything he knows. So he's got a lot of knowledge that I do not have. And he's great with sound, and he's great with lights, and he's
Yeah.
great with technology. And he was in town
Gotta
last
stay
week. and
relevant, Dave. That's what.
What's that?
He's got to stay relevant. If he tells
Yeah,
you
oh, yeah.
everything he knows, you don't need him.
This is true. He took I took my bass and he installed a knob on it so I can drop my tuning down, so I don't have to keep retuning it every time. So I mean, this guy, he's great, you know. But like I say, he didn't want to do this. So it's a lot of me pulling him. So even the videos we did, it was just me pulling him, saying, "Now we're going to do this song. We're going to do
Pull the
that
brother
song."
card on him a couple
Yes,
times.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, I don't have
I'm
this,
your
but
loving
now,
brother. Do this with me.
yeah, please. But yeah, that's why, you know, once I knew that I wasn't going to go to Liverpool this year, and probably not next year because his son is getting married, I knew that I couldn't let my talent rot on the vine, as it were. So this guy, Andy and No Idea, contacted me on this website. I've just signed up for a website because I'm like, I need to be in a band. I need to make some money. And he's like, hey, we're looking for a backup bass player. Are you interested? I'm like, I'll check you out. And over Thanksgiving, I went and I checked them out at this dive bar called Lucky's. And I mean, I just had to walk through a plume of smoke in order to get to the stage area. And I watch them, like, every fiber of my being said, turn around and leave. Turn around and leave. This isn't for you. This isn't music you play. This isn't what you do. But I went up and introduced myself anyways. And I'm like, I got to do this. Got to break out of my shell. And a couple weeks later, I went to a rehearsal and they gave me a list of here's our songs. They gave me 40 songs to learn. I'm like, oh, all right. So I had 2 weeks to learn 40 songs. So I did my best to learn. Of those 40 songs, I had only known how to play one. I knew Money by the Beatles was the only song I knew how to play. So I had to, and a lot of them I just had to fake, and I had to write down what the notes were. But we jammed, and it sounded pretty good. And then they said, listen, we've got a show in March. Would you be able to be our backup for March? Because they had another guy. I'm like, yeah, I'll be your backup. So I learned all 40 songs a lot better. We had a bunch of rehearsals, and we had a gig. And after the show was over, people kept coming up to me, and like, you know, talking about the fan. People kept coming up to me, shaking my hand, going, oh my God, you're so much better than their old bass player. Oh my God, you bring so much energy. Oh my God, you're so great. And I'm like, no, I'm just a substitute. But this was the first opportunity I've had since I was in sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
That I was not singing. I was not the lead singer. I was not the second singer. I was just the bass player. So, because every band that I've been in through, from high school to my brother to even Triple Octane, I was always the second singer. So I wasn't not singing at all, except some backups if I even want to.
Yeah.
And so it allowed me just to stand back and feel the drums and jump around and kick my feet up and walk around and just have a great time. And so they appreciated my youthful energy.
Now, how do you
it's-
memorize the songs, Dave? Do you do like Adam does? Do you just like listen to the song? Do you have to flum through it? Like,
So my method I found, because when you're a teenager, you sort of like Adam, you hear, I mean, you can easy to pick it up, easy to memorize lyrics. But now that I'm almost 50, I I find it a little harder. So what I ended up doing was I kind of pushed my way through 40 songs. A lot of them I'd never heard of before. A lot of them I didn't know. So I would listen to this. I had the YouTube video on, and I would kind of flub along, and then I go to the YouTube. Someone always made a video playing bass. How to play the bass for You Ought to Know. Okay, cool. I'll watch that. So I'll watch it. I'll get the general idea of it, and then I'd move on. And if I couldn't get the song right away, if it kind of stressed me out, I'd either put my bass down and walk away, or I'd move on to the next song. And once I got through the whole 40 songs, I went back to the beginning. Like, okay, I know this one. Oh, this one I had trouble with. And I'd work on it a little bit more, and then just work on it a little bit more until I had it down. And I think I've got them all down now.
wow.
But I also have a cheat sheet. So I have an app on my tablet called Setlist. And I used it for Last Train to Liverpool because it had all the words to all the songs. Not that I needed it, but once again, it was a cheat sheet. And I've got So I put all the lyrics in there, and there's a little section for notes, and I just wrote G, C, D, and then an F, G, and so I wrote all the notes down just in case as a crutch. And it's come in handy because we're like, all right, we're playing You Ought to Know. All right, great. What's that? and you always, and if you watch the video, which I haven't put out yet, you'll watch a video, you'll see me doing. Because I can't see up close. Oh, there you go. Do. So yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's just a lot of pushing through, and then of course listening to the songs over and over and over.
Right.
And over.
Okay.
And most of these songs I would never listen to. We play some 60s, 70s, and 90s rock, and then there's a ton of country songs that I would never have listened to if it wasn't for this band.
Listen, Dave. I don't want to hear nothing about country. You got married in a cowboy hat, so therefore. You sir can't claim the country. I got one for you. Steven Seagulls. You got to listen to them. There's the wedding hat. Oh, holy cow.
Nice.
Wow. No, you guys got to listen to these guys. They're country fun.
Yes,
fun.
we had a Western wedding.
Was that your idea or Sarah's idea? Because I met both of you, and to me, it didn't make sense.
Neither one of them, right?
So, oh my gosh, you want to know all these stories? So, here it is.
It's an interview show, Dave. It's an interview show.
All right, here it is, 1998. I proposed to Sarah at one of me and Rob's shows, and she said yes. Shocking.
Oh, good.
I know. She said no. We went with it anyway. So. She said yes. And we were living in St. Louis at the time, but my family was all in Chicago, and we couldn't afford to get married in Chicago, and we couldn't find any place in St. Louis that was standing out that we liked, or that we can afford. And I made a joke saying, "Oh, why don't we just get married on your granddad's farm?" Because her granddad, who lived out in Oklahoma, had this huge farm, like there's a lot of space, and
right.
get married there. And so I said, "Yeah, we can get married. We can have a cowboy wedding." And I said, I knew the neighbor RD had a stagecoach. So I said, "Oh, you can ride up in the stagecoach with the bridesmaids." And I said, "What else did I say? Oh, instead of throwing rice,
the whole wedding on a whim."
I said instead of throwing rice, we'll shoot off cap guns, and then we'll have a barn dance at RD's barn. And yes, every single thing I said, we did, and that was literally, I just spit it out. And her parents were like, "That's the greatest idea ever. Let's do it." So we did.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Jason, what do you got? What's up with you?
Here.
Yeah. Hey, Jay.
So yeah, Dave. So I grew up playing bass as well. I haven't done it for a very long time, at least in the band. But one of the cool shows that I've done was a battle of the bands in high school, and it was a cool experience because you just meet a bunch of other bands and you get to have fun, and it's kind of a competition and everything. But what was a cool show that you've done that you just look back on and you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that?
Music wise, I mean, you say Battle of the Bands, and I do remember my first Battle of the Bands back in high school. My band Hereafter, We were a neoclassical heavy metal blues band,
Nice.
according to them. These guys, I mean, it's a terrible story. Another terrible story. A friend, I was performing with this guy from freshman year up until junior year. He was our singer, guitar player, and I was his bass player. And every band we went to together. And then we found these two guys, Ross and Pete. Pete on the drums, Ross on guitar. And Ross was this neoclassical guitar player. I mean, he played every note on his guitar outstanding. And Pete had this double bass beat that, we couldn't beat it. And we played, Megadeth and some little, we jammed out on Slayer and a lot of our own original music. But they couldn't stand my buddy singing. And so we ended up kicking him out. So I had to be the lead singer. And it was at the neighboring school's gymnasium. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget it. I mean, it was such a huge, just a huge building, and just a lot of people there. And we rushed through every song. We had 45 minutes of music that we played in 30. And at the end, Pete. I don't know how Pete kept up. I mean, he's playing out there. But we blasted, and then people were yelling for more. I'm like, we don't know anymore.
Happy birthday to you.
We played like a 10-minute extended blues jam, which I don't know why we won after that.
Right.
Because people were like, oh, never mind. But yeah, we won. There was another band there. I can't remember their name, probably for the best. They had won the past 3 years, and they were prepared to win for the 4th year in a row, and we beat them by like 8 votes.
That's awesome.
Wow, but that's 8 votes, Dave. That's 8 more fans than they
and
had.
I think my buddy formed another band, and I think they only got 8 votes. So
Yeah, it's actually funny you bring up about the wanting more songs part, because when we did ours, we were the only band that was was under 18. Everybody else was older. And it was at a middle school quad. It was about probably like 1,500, 2,000 people, somewhere around there and there.
nice.
And they asked for more for us too. We didn't win, but they asked for more from us too. And so we ended up like our drummer, who was also the singer, kicked off Thunderstruck. And I had no idea how to play it at all. Like, I know the song, but I had no idea how to play bass on it. So I'm just there turning down my volume a little bit, and then like kind of making stuff up, because I'm not a very good musician. But you ever had a time when you just like get on stage and you're playing and you just either forget the song completely, or like how did you handle that?
Yes. I was in a band for a whole 2 months called Triple Octane here in Orlando. I found them on Craigslist, and Chris, the guitar player,
How you find a band, Dave? If you want to join a band on Craigslist, that's the best way to do it.
No, I wouldn't do that again. But I was desperate. I'm like, I'll find the band, and me and the drummer, he found us both at the same time, and I knew most of the songs he played, so I'm like, this is great. I just Poison and Def Leppard and whatever it was, I knew most of it. So we get up there to play, and we only jammed like twice before we had our first gig, because he already had a whole list of gigs standing. We didn't know this at the time, but when we jammed with him, he goes, "Oh, I have a gig next week. You interested?" I'm like, "Sure." So I'll never forget. It was Green Day, and it was Longview.
Okay.
And man, when that song, that wasn't even it. It was Black Sabbath, I think.
Oh, Sharon! Whoa!
Oh man, I cannot remember the.
Full of impressions. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I did.
Oh, its turn impression is getting better and better.
It was a Black Sabbath
Ozzy
song.
Osbourne.
It was a Black Sabbath song. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it had a middle section where it changed, and we had never practiced that far, and I never played it any further than the beginning. And we got that middle section. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. Like I couldn't fake it. I had nothing. And he turns to me and he starts yelling out the notes to me, and I'm playing him. He's just yelling them. And we get to the end of the song, and he goes, "If you didn't know the damn song, why didn't you say something?" And I'm like, I didn't know the song until we started playing it.
Right.
So
that happened to us once with Master of Puppets. We were playing that, and then we got like halfway through to I think it was the second solo, the hard one, and our guitarist just had no idea how to do it.
yeah.
And he just kind of looked at us and was like, "We're just gonna skip this," and he just like went to the next part.
No.
Adam, have you ever been on stage where somebody's like just like skipped a scene or something, and you just like stare at them and you're just like,
I've done that too.
do you just like go to your next line, or do you like bridge the gap to be like, well, this is where we were? Like, how do you
It
recover?
depends on like how badly they skipped ahead. You know, like if they've skipped a major plot point, then like you have to get you gotta try to reel it back to wherever it was. You know, and, like,
Come back.
Didn't you
do
mean to
this.
say
The
this?
thing that more from that is the people that miss entrances. And so then you're just standing out there waiting for people to come in, and you've got to improvise because you're like, well,
It's like MJ. and
maybe the
Spider-Man.
phone's going to ring.
I feel like somebody's watching me on the left.
Right.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, gentlemen, I bring this. This is the moment that we do rapid fire from my magician's hat. I feel like this is a good segue
Ooh.
right in real fast. So I'm going to ask a question. It's
I
for
hope you
both of
accidentally
you.
pull a rabbit out of
What? Yeah, I know. I should. Right?
I hope you
Um,
accidentally pull a rabbit out of
That would be cool. I don't have a rabbit that I can even fake right now. So I can pull a bird out of it real easy, Adam. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Too bad you don't have the duck from earlier.
I know, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We found it. No, never mind. The whole thing. So what we can do is I'll ask a question, and we'll go alphabetical. So Adam comes first, and then we'll go Dave. Same question. I think it would be fun to kind of get both of your answers on it, and then the next question we'll just do like 5. It's not going to be crazy. And then so like the first question Adam answers, then Dave, and then the second question Dave, and then Adam, and then kind of back and forth that way. Does that sound good
hard.
to you guys?
I
So
need a
we're going to
pen.
pick out the
Got
best five, and then Jason's going to write down if anything sounds interesting that we want to dive back into. But most of these are kind of rapid fire, questions. So question number 1. This is good. I really wanted to ask you guys this one. Adam, is Elvis dead or faked his death?
Elvis is dead.
Okay. Dave, do you think Elvis is dead?
Do
or
you want me to
think-
elaborate? Because the reason that I say he is dead is because technology and everything has blown up so much that if he were alive, you can't tell me that there wouldn't be a TikTok or an Instagram page or something out there that shows him alive, as old man Elvis. So I think he is legit.
There is, Adam. If you watch Home Alone,
Not on
when-
TikTok, is there?
No. When you watch, you can look it up. You can look on Home Alone when Catherine O'Hara, that's the wrong lady. Catherine O'Hara is at when she meets John Candy at the airport, and she's like, I just need to get home. There's like 2 guys behind her in line, and he looks exactly like Elvis. And there's a theory that he's an actor. And then there's another preacher guy that
Right,
looks
but
exactly
that
like
was-
Elvis, but he could.
That was in 1991 or 80,
Right.
like whenever Home Alone came out. He's clearly, I mean,
He was an older guy, but he looked just like Elvis. Like you look it up. He looks just like Elvis. Okay, Dave.
I'm looking
This
up.
is rapid fire, Adam.
If Elvis were alive today, he'd be dead.
He'd be dead. Okay.
But no, I don't think he faked his. It's true. He'd probably be dead if he was alive today. He'd be dead.
So you think he died?
I think he died.
Okay. Dave, if you could drink only one drink forever, other than water, so you can have water, what would that drink be?
I mean, what if it's bad for my health? Is it okay?
Just
I
one
would-
drink. What other than water?
Give me
They
a Baja,
come to you and say,
Baja
"Dave,
Blast.
Baja Blast. Okay.
Baja Blast.
Adam, what about you, sir?
Gatorade Zero Blue.
Ooh, blue. Okay. Got it. I like that one. Adam, this is for you. Silence, or do you like background noise?
Background noise.
Mm-hmm. Dave?
Background noise. I can't
Background
sleep
noise.
in silence. I actually have a headband that has 2 flat earbuds in it, and I just listen to old TV shows as I go to sleep.
Now, do you guys
It's
like?
true,
I do
he
the
does.
same. I do the same because I have. By the way, I only know about movies on audio because of you guys. I remember
Listen to movie.com.
Back to the Future or something like that.
Yep.
But I have tinnitus, so I have
me
a
too.
constant ringing in my ear. So some things I can normally drown it out. So I'm the same way. I have to have background pretty much all the time, or I'll go crazy. Like Jason has headphones on. I can't do headphones. I used to for work, but like in between like phone calls and all this other stuff, like I have to pop one ear off because I would literally like my brain felt like it was going to like blow up because of it. So okay. So Dave has tinnitus. Adam, do you have tinnitus, or you just prefer not
Yep.
to be silent?
I do as well.
Yeah.
My ears are always ringing.
Oh yes. What note? What note is it ringing?
God, I wish I knew. It's like
Whatever that is.
yeah, it's like a it's
G. I think it's G. I think it's G.
it's a buzz. It's a buzz. Okay.
Okay.
Adam, shoes,
Yep.
flip flops, bare feet, or Crocs?
Shoes.
Shoes.
Oh. I'm a shoes guy.
Shoes. Flip
Except for when I
flops,
take
bare
the
feet, or
dog out.
Crocs? Your shoes.
Oh, it's
guy?
going to be all. It's got to be all of them.
no.
Yeah,
any
I would
of
go
them.
shoes.
Shoes. Okay.
Oh.
Any of them.
I
Out
do
of those,
like Crocs. Like I do like Crocs.
I love Crocs. Dave, what about you? Shoes.
I'm a shoeman.
Flip flops.
I'm a shoeman.
Shoeman. Yeah.
Never been a flip flop fan.
I've
I don't
never
own
been
any
a flip
Crocs.
flop fan. Never. Even living in
Yeah.
Florida, I was never a flip flop fan.
That's all I wear.
Don't get it.
Like, no,
I do
I
yard
only
work.
wear Crocs.
I wear flip flops as well, Jason. So
Yeah.
I'm a Croc guy.
I'm
You
equal
will find me
opportunity with shoes, really.
90% in Crocs. And you want to know a fun fact about Crocs? Have you guys ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yes.
Idiocracy. That's what they wear in that movie, because when Crocs came to them, and the guy's like, "Yeah, these are so idiotic. This will never take off. Like nobody will ever wear these shoes. Like it fits the movie perfectly. Like idiots would wear these." And that's why they picked it. And then here Crocs took off, and they're still around, and people wear them. I'm wearing fur-lined Crocs right now. Okay, last from the hat. Dave, you're up.
It's me.
Ooh. Guilty pleasure snack.
I do like a good barbecue potato chip.
Oh, barbecue.
And
Is
if
there a certain kind?
I would like to go
Yeah.
back in time, or at least back to Chicago, and have Jay's barbecue potato chips. Jay's.
Ooh,
Look it
okay.
up.
Is
I
that a
don't know if they still
little
make
is a little spicier on the uptick? Is it a little bit sweeter on the palate?
I don't remember. It's been so many years.
Oh,
I just remember.
okay. So just
I just remember seeing the box and going, I like these, and that's what I would eat.
Oh,
And they would come in, and this was back in the day. I don't know if it happens anymore, but it would come in a box that had 2 bags of chips inside.
Hmm.
It's a different
That's
time.
wild.
I don't think
What about
they
you,
do
Adam?
that anymore.
What about you? What's your guilty pleasure snack?
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, I love some peanut butter M&Ms.
Me too. They are the superior M&M. I apologize to all of your listeners that love the other ones. But
Oh, it's so good, but it is
you heard it here first, everybody.
It's
Peanut
gonna
butter
be
M&M.
on.
Peanut butter M&Ms.
It's going to be on your news feed later on.
That's right. Exactly. All of the stuff that we're talking about, it's on news feeds. Yeah. And one I did have, and it's in the mix. But I really like. I feel, again, you guys have accomplished many things in your life, and you continue to accomplish more. I would like to know, what is your personal motto, or like a motivation? Like, what's your motivational line to yourself? There's the last one. Either one of you can jump in whenever you get it. What's your personal motto?
Will you ask the question again? My connection cut a little bit. Personal
Oh.
motto?
What's your personal motto or like motivational line?
Mhm.
Either one of you.
I thought of this one
Whichever
myself.
Mine is
Hold on, Adam. I've got this. I thought about this, and I think this is going to work. Just do it.
Oh, that might take off.
It might be
take off,
popular.
Dave.
I've never heard of that name. That's
Hold on, I gotta
what's
write
it
that
mean?
down.
What's it mean?
Write it down. Write it down.
It means
Write
you
it
should
down.
just do it instead of not doing it.
Oh,
Smart ass. What about you,
I like
Adam?
that.
Yeah.
Mine is
Not from a
and
box,
it's
Adam. Not from
very
a box.
interesting that you would say this because the reason I got yes and tattooed on my leg was not just because of the improv, but because that I have for 2024, I've taken that as my motto of life. And I've said this to anybody that asks, because the main rule of improv is to yes something and then build on top of it. So the yes is the accepting of whatever's given to you, and the and is building on top of it. So yes and is my motto, because it's, hey, I'm going to take whatever life throws at me, and then I'm just going to make it better, build on top of that.
Wow.
So yes and.
Nice.
I love that. I love that. Jason, I'm going to take it off script. What is your personal, what is your motivational line? What's your motto that you go by, sir?
I don't really have like a saying per se, but I always try to like take a look at everything from everybody's point of view, but also improve on everything. So like, you know, I'm open-minded on things, but I always think there's room for improvement. So on anything, whether it's myself, whether it's, you know, something that I'm talking with somebody else about, you know, always strive to do better.
Strive to do better.
Do better, I guess.
Do better. Do
That'd be
better.
probably the line, yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Nick?
Mine is the worst you can tell me is no. So worst you can tell me is no. Right? Might as well ask. The worst you can do is say no. You can't attack me. You can't break me down any farther than just saying no.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's what my normal go-to is. The worst you can tell me is no.
So tying all this back together a little bit. So the do better and the drink for you, Dave, and the snack as well. Have you heard of the new Taco Bell Baja Blast pie that's coming out this year?
Say what now?
When is the release date?
Yes.
What locations?
So back in February, Taco Bell this year decided to do a like huge event that was like for all, they invited all these Instagram influencers and TikTokers and everything out, and they had this whole like big show, almost like a Microsoft Ignite, or, you know, like a big trade show basically around new things coming out. And one of the things that was announced was actually the Baja Blast gelato pie coming out this year. And they had it for taste test and everything. So they were taste testing it there.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm looking at pictures right now.
Yeah. Looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good. Key lime pie, a key lime almost.
Yeah.
So I have a question for both of you. With your vast knowledge of life and your world travels and everything like that, have you either one of you run into a celebrity, a personal hero of yours in the wild, as I say? Kind of like, I know Dave has been to Comic Cons and stuff like that, but like, or Comic Con, but like, have you run into a legend or
besides Nick?
Besides, I mean, I grew from intern to having my own show. So
my favorite story. I was at my job. This was way back in 2011. It was New Year's Eve, and I was walking behind the scenes. I was behind where everything was happening, and I was looking at some papers. I was looking at some numbers, and I was walking, and all of a sudden I walk up into this group of people. A bunch of guys wearing backpacks, and I looked up and I was standing mere inches away from former President Jimmy Carter.
Wow.
I looked up, I looked back down at my papers, I turned around and I walked away. Because those guys with the backpacks were all Secret Service, and I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Is this when you went down and made popcorn and shut down the entire place?
What the hell?
Wait, what?
And congratulations to 12 years, sir. Congratulations to 12 years with we hear.
17. I got 17 years, my friend.
I thought it was 12.
No, you got to add on the 5 from St. Louis.
4. That's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I did not. Okay. How can I tell this story?
How do you tell this PC story, Dave?
So
we used to talk about that. We used to talk about it in another ways of a podcast.
You see, that was before I became a part of management, and even then we to kind of danced around it, and even then that was the main reason why we stopped. It's because I
right.
was, I'm like, I can't talk about this anymore. But
Right.
since you asked, it was a specific celebration day for our employees, and we had a popcorn machine, a genuine, normal popcorn machine you'd find in a movie theater.
In the
And we brought it,
basement.
and we brought it down into our office, and our office is in the lower levels of our work environment. I couldn't find a plug anywhere. Could not find a plug. The cord was too short. Couldn't find a plug. Found a plug where it would get long enough. Okay, plugged it in, and me and my coworker Brad are there, and I'm making my first batch of popcorn. And I'm like, better open this door to get some ventilation. So we open the door to get some ventilation. First batch of popcorn drops. It's perfect. It was perfect. But when I dumped that popcorn, the steam came out of the machine, and I didn't realize I was standing right underneath the fire alarm detector. And all of a sudden we hear beep, beep, beep. And I turned to Brad and I said, "Do you think that's us?" And as soon as I said that, the door was on a magnet, went boom, automatically released and shut. I'm like, oh
no,
that's us. So I had to call the first of all, I had to call the people. I had to call the fire department.
And he shut down Dreamland.
I shut down just that section of Dreamland. All the under area had to be evacuated from where we were, as well as all the buildings above us.
That young lady couldn't make it back home. She couldn't. To her
All
prince.
the buildings above us had to be evacuated, and the let's just say duty manager came up, and I had to explain to him what happened, and he got a nice chuckle out of it. Fire department came, they shut off the alarm. I said, I don't think we're making any more popcorn today, and we moved on. And the next morning, I was at the duty meeting in the morning, and we're going around the room, and everyone's talking about what's going on the day, and I'm sitting there, and I go talk about what we're working on for that day, and he turns and he goes, he never even looks up. He's looking down at his papers, and he goes, "You're not going to make any popcorn today, are you?" I'm like, "No, sir, no, we're not." But yes, that was the day I set off all the fire alarms and evacuated that land.
Wow.
it's amazing.
So Dave ran into Jimmy Carter and
I did.
almost
That's a
burned
good
down
story.
with popcorn. That's great. I love it.
That's great.
Adam, what about you? Did you run into anybody, know anybody, see anybody?
I've run into like local like St. Louis sports people. You know what I mean? Like people that outside of St. Louis might not know, but like I've like when I was just in LA in January, like there was a bunch of like Netflix series people that were around, but like I didn't know any of them. My buddy that I was with was like, "Oh, that's so and so from this Netflix series." I'm like, "Oh, great," you know. But when I was in New York, I met Josh Groban.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did see that picture. You ran into Josh Groban.
Yeah, after I
and
saw
who's the
Sweeney
girl.
Annalie Ashford, but then also Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things, and that kid, he and I had like a 5-minute conversation. He's awesome.
That's awesome. Isn't it
That's
great?
cool.
Because I've met people, and it's great when you have a good interaction. Like you hear,
Yes,
celebrities shutting you down and all this stuff, but it's nice when they're humble and they'll talk with you, like like normal and stuff like that. So I find
I love that.
really cool. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's awesome. Yeah, I've had a couple run-ins with different celebrities and stuff like that. My favorite one was we were in St. Augustine in Florida. Me and Kristen were down there for one of our anniversaries. I'll wrap this story up quick. And we went to we asked the concierge, like, where's a good place to eat? And he named us like Dive Bar, like 10 minutes out the city. So we're like, okay, cool. So we show up, we walk in, and there's a hostess, and there's a guy, short, 5'5", 5'6", in front of me. He's got a hat on, and his black scraggly hair is kind of coming out. And I hear in a voice like what am I trying to come up with? It was Australian. I could hear, and all he said was, "I'll be back in 10 minutes." And he turned past me, like turned around and walked past me. And I looked at Kristen and the little 16-year-old hostess girl, and I said, "That was the lead singer of AC/DC." And they're like, "No way." And Kristen's like, "He walked past you. Like, how did you see it?" I said, "I instantly know. Instantly know." And the little girl goes behind the stand and goes, "Who?" I'm like, "Shut up." No, whatever. Like, if he comes back, can you sit him by us? And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll try. So he walked back in with his wife, and they walk in, and she's literally pointing behind him, going, like, is this him? And then, but he wanted to sit in the bar. So he sat in the bar, and she comes back over and she goes, sorry, I tried to get him to sit next to you, but he wanted to sit in the bar. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And now I'm like, that's him. I know that's him. But as a boy does on his first date, he's like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I knew if I walked up to him, I wouldn't make any sense. Like, to say, like, you know, like, hey, can I have your autograph, stuff like that. So Kristen walked over and got his autograph. Like, I sent my wife his tribute. Please go get my autograph from a rock god. And he stood up and he talked to her for like 5 or 6 minutes. Like, stood up the whole time, right? So she comes back, and I got an autograph that says, keep rocking, Nick, Brian Johnson, right? And I'm like, this is great. It's on a St. Augustine map. I still have it somewhere. And it was great, right? So now it's like a couple minutes go by. I'm like texting everybody I know, like, oh my God, I'm like in the presence of Brian Johnson, like AC/DC, one of my favorite bands, right? And here comes our food. And here follows the bartender with a bottle of champagne that Brian Johnson sent over to my table to celebrate my year anniversary with my wife. And I'm like, and now Kristen's like, now you have to go say thank you. And I was like,
yes.
Okay, I got this. Okay. So we walk over and he smiles, right? And he stands up and he does this, like the handshake back, like he was going to shake my hand and like, you know, like give me like that, like handshake hug. And I was so nervous. I just hugged him. I full on embraced Brian Johnson. And the man hugged me back. And it wasn't like one of those, like, let me go. Like, okay, who's this? Like, it was a hug. Like, we hugged. And we talked, and it was so poetic because like every third word was the F word, but like rock and roll. Like we don't take effing pictures. Like I still have an effing flip phone. My effing manager handles it for like effing on vacate. Like, but it was just like, wow. And another thing, like he stood the whole time, and his wife was talking with Kristen the whole time. His food came, and he didn't break eye contact with me. But if you ask me what we talked about, I couldn't recall.
What'd you talk about?
I was in such awe of being like there. So then I was like, but I did excuse ourselves. I said, "Oh, your food's here. Like, let us, like, you know, like, oh, thank you so much. You know, it was a pleasure talking with you." And we walked away, and I sat down, and like everything kind of hit me, and I was just like, "Oh shit, Kristen, I didn't even tell him I was a fan." And she goes, "Nick, after the hug, I think he figured it out."
I think we knew.
So that was like one of those moments. It was just like so, like, you know, they say don't meet your legends and stuff like that, but it was very surreal, like to talk to him and the way he talked, and nobody else bothered him the entire time we were there. Like he was just some old man in the bar with his wife, and it was just really nice that he stood up and hugged and everything like that. So it was really, that's one of my favorite stories to tell of a celebrity interaction.
I thought of a couple quick ones. I saw Shaquille O'Neal at Target.
How do you miss him?
He was a
Target.
giant.
He's a Walmart guy.
He was at Target, and he was in Target. He was also wearing slippers. But I didn't talk to him. I saw Avril Lavigne at Epcot.
Okay.
That's not unusual. I was at Magic Kingdom once before, years and years and years ago, and a friend of mine was a VIP tour guide, and we saw him. We're like, hey, and we stopped on the bridge. We're talking to him for 10 minutes, and finally he goes, hey, listen, I can't talk. George Lucas is with me, and we've got to get going. And I turn around, and George Lucas is standing behind him this entire time.
Wow.
And he never said a thing. He just stood there while we talked.
Wow. Now,
but then the last one, I met the bass player from Iron Maiden, Steve Harris, at Target. Baby Millie and I were in the DVD aisle. I was looking at DVDs, and I looked up, and there's Steve Harris looking at DVDs. And once again, I looked back down. I'm like, well, I can't approach this guy. But I stood there for as long as I could until it was too embarrassing, and finally I walked away. Cut to checking out, and he and his wife are checking out. And I'm like, well, I can't let this pass up. So I just walked up to him and I just said, hey, listen, I just want to say you guys rock, and thank you very much for everything. Shook his hand and walked away.
Wow.
Wow.
See, I think that's a how do you not like that as that guy, right? Like that's like your one fan, right? Like it means something to you. Like, and you were respectful. You summed it up. You didn't ask for but I see nowadays like they get upset about selfies and stuff like that. And you're like, well, I want to document that I saw you. Like, don't get mad at me for that.
No one's going to believe this.
Documenting. But it's really nice that you shook his hand and kept it quick and you let him go on his way. I do have to ask both of you, because you were both there at this momentous occasion. I am jealous that you were in the breathing air of Mr. Brendan Fraser in Epcot. Like, how fantastic was that to be in his presence? Like, he is so humble. Like, he is such a he just won an Oscar or something like that, didn't he? Like, he just won a giant award. And he's like, let's talk about Jesus at Epcot, and it was like, this is great. Like, the birth and journey of Christ. It was so fun. Like, how cool was that? Like, you guys had to wait for a long time, right? Like, you guys were in line for a long time.
No, we cheated. We got dinner reservations at
you sly
the Coral
dog.
Reef.
Nice.
And then did that, yeah. But I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought he was great. I thought the production was great. That was a trip that I took my parents on for Christmas, and they both said that was like the highlight of their trip. Was being able to see that. Like, they loved. I mean, they liked hanging out with all of us and drinking, but they said that was like their favorite thing that they did was doing that.
Was seeing Brendan Fraser. That's awesome. And Dave was there, right? I didn't miss my intern was not wrong on that. That's awesome.
It was pretty neat. It was pretty neat. It seemed like he was having a good time, and if I recall, it was his last show, and he got a little misty-eyed at the end.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. Well,
like when he
gentlemen,
left, the person leaves the stage before everyone's done singing. Like, they're like, "Oh, Brendan Fraser," and then he leaves. But he stood at the corner of the stage until the band stopped and until all the singers stopped, just watching them, and like Dave said, like teary-eyed. Just he was so humble. He was so great. Like, it made me want to just go meet him.
That's like that extra little touch. You're just like, damn, you're a real human being. Like, you're enjoying this just as much as I am. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, gentlemen, I promised you that I'd keep it to an hour. You guys are so fascinating. We went way over. I appreciate your time.
We talked too much.
Or no, this is like a two-parter now. Jason's sitting in his mind going, "Oh God, how am I going to cut this short?"
Yeah, the first half hour, Adam wasn't here.
So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you getting down to the details untold of your lives and the different things. I mean, I have between me and Jason, we have a whole other page of things we can ask you. Maybe we'll ask you back and stuff like that. But I do, from the bottom of my heart, I do appreciate your time talking with us, sharing your lives, and sharing it with whoever wants to listen to us. So, by the way, we'll be on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. So, details untold.
All right.
Cool.
A good time.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys.
Feel free to drop off so me and Jason can talk about you while you're not here.
We actually got to
Hey, guys.
Yeah. Plus, they cut us off at 2 hours. So,
you got 6 minutes. You better go.
You got 6 minutes. Ready, go. See you.
Yeah.
See you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Appreciate it. Wow, that was a good show, Jay.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good.
One in the can.
Yeah.
Well, we got two interesting guys, huh?
We just got to refilm the beginning part.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. But wow,
that was awesome.
I mean, I don't think that could have went better. I think they were very forthcoming. with their answers, and they were excited to dig in deeper to everything like that. And I'm not lying, we could have went a lot longer.
yeah.
And I
No,
know
we
you
had a
had
lot more
questions, I
stuff.
have questions, but the length of detail that they went into, I think, was exciting.
Well, and there was so much to learn about them too. I mean, like I think I had met Dave at your going away, right?
You had to meet
'Cause-
Dave.
yeah,
Yeah.
because when your last day when I surprised you at Disney,
Yeah. They were
he was there, right?
He
Yeah,
was there. Mhm.
but I don't think I had met Adam before.
Mm-mm.
So Adam was new to me. But yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, and I just met Dave. I hadn't seen him. I never really talked to him or
Right.
anything. So it was so cool getting to, get to know him. Put some knowledge behind the face, and then getting to meet Adam. They're both super cool people. So yeah, I
And
did get
interesting
to
for
find out
different
about
things.
episode 69 though.
No, I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. And
yeah.
I mean, I kept asking questions, so we
I noticed that. Yeah, you pivoted off that
Pivoted.
subject before I was able to get in there and ask
Pivoted.
that question. So we're gonna have to bring it back on again.
Yeah, but I mean, I would totally have them back on.
Oh, yeah.
We could probably have them on individually. I mean,
Yeah.
but the meaning that they both said yes, and for my history with them, doing a podcast, as again, they always joked I was the intern, and I sat on a stool and literally was like this in Dave's office, and Sarah would have me over and they'd feed me dinner, and and it was just bullshitting, for however long we did that show. And when doing the show, I was like, I don't know why, but I like Adam's funny and Dave's funny, but Dave was the host. And then Erin came in and she was, like she had the woman point of view and was pretty chill. I just had this thought that I had to be like the manic crazy guy on the show. And I, to the point I played that part. And sometimes I look back, I keep joking, I look back and I'm just like, what the hell was I thinking on that show?
Right.
But it was like I could sit down and I could be that character on on it, and kept it going and doing weird crazy stuff and everything like that. So but it was a real honor to have them on. I really enjoyed hearing about Adam and acting and directing, and Dave playing in the bands, and learning songs, and how they came together in the first place, with improv. And I thought that was wild, and how that certain things in their life transition, continues to transition, and stuff like that. Like Adam's love of improv is one of his personal motto, and everything like that. That's really cool.
No, it was really awesome, and yeah, I mean, it was so cool, especially with the two of them, because they have so much experience that, like, you would meet them and you wouldn't guess, they did a show in Singapore, or that Dave did the show in Singapore, or
Right.
Adam is in all these plays, and he's directed and done all this stuff. So it's so cool to like find this stuff out, because you just never know what people have done. You see people and you're just like, oh, that's just an ordinary person,
Right.
and then you find out all
Right.
this cool details about them. So
Fun details about it, and their perspective, right? I mean, we're not saying that the way Adam, acts, or Dave does comedy, or Dave, plays in his band in the bass, that he, how he learns music is the right way to do it. It's their to do it.
exactly.
It's their process, and it's interesting. Like I found one of my favorite things is about Adam, how he said exactly what I want. Right, like before each show, he had to kind of be by himself, be in his own. He had to listen to music, and it was neat to find out that it was all the same music. It didn't matter who he was playing, but that was his. But it was his, routine was to kind of. But then he could cut in and out of the character. But to get to that point, he had to calm down, listen to Mr. Brightside, and but it was the same playlist every time. That was really neat. I think that was really cool.
It's really cool.
The things to do it. So, sir, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
love
appreciate you as well.
Till next time. Till our next guest. Till our next beginning.
Yeah, I appreciate all the listeners listening to us as well.
Yeah,
it's the first episode.
All the family members and close friends. Tell your other friends.
Right. For our 2 listeners this episode, please share.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Kristen. Love you, Mom. And from there, Details Untoldians. We will see you next time.
Till next time.
Adios.